I've always loved learning, and I thought, why not? Let's do this, you know? And CUBE just changed my life.
It's fun. I think the kinds of activities that this professional development sort of puts in the day, there's a lot of variety to what happens, and it's also, I find it a really nice combination of sort of philosophic and thoughtful, but also practical. A lot of what I learned here I've used in my classes in some form or another, whether it's even something as simple as the scribbles and nibbles or whatever it was called. I love that, and the kids love it, and they ask about it. When are we going to do that again? And I find them interested in writing in a way that seems very sort of more informal and fun, and that gets those, especially those struggling writers, to get involved more. So
you will personally become a better writer. You'll understand the process of writing better, and you'll be able to, there's just a personal touch. You'll have friends. You'll have new friends from outside where you teach, outside your district even. You'll have new friends that you'll be in touch with forever, and that will also influence you. So it's just a lot more wide-reaching and long-lasting, I think, than any other PD I've ever had.
Even though I love my job, it is exhausting in so many ways, and Summer Institute has sort of been a safe haven for me to show up and really be believed in as an educator, but also as a writer and as a student. You come every day, and there's this space where you're really allowed to shine as a professional and as an educator and also as a writer, and you're collaborating with these other people who are equally invested in giving their students and the people around them the best chance at academic achievement, but also like interpersonal achievement in achieving like a fulfilled life. And I'm so grateful for like the validation and the knowledge I've gained through being here at Summer Institute.
When I was a teacher, I remember coming to CUWP events and feeling like the professional development that I wanted to have happen in schools for teachers was happening here. So I had an incredible network of other teachers, more seasoned than me, and also just beginning, so I got to be a resource for some, and then also follow along and get advice and suggestions from people, from teacher veterans. So I think that everything CUWP has done is so worthwhile and beneficial for the teachers here.
When I survey my students, they typically, one of the skills they say they learned was they learned how to write. And that's saying something from a social studies teacher.
I've been a math teacher, I'm currently an art teacher, and the principles that we talk about here at the Central Utah Writing Project of using mentor texts and having students be reflective in their learning is very applicable to all the subjects that I've been involved in. And recognizing that what we talk about here is just good teaching practice has been very reassuring to me.
Things really changed in my teaching life, and I would recommend that any teacher, no matter what subject area or discipline that you're teaching, that you take this so that you can be the very best that you can be.
I have had the wonderful opportunity to do CUWP twice. I did it after my first year of teaching, and to be perfectly honest, it was quite overwhelming. I was really just trying to keep my head above water at that point in my career. But one thing that I really took away the first time around is the importance of having my students write as often as possible. And so I started to implement scribbles in my classroom, and that was a really wonderful experience for me and my students, because it was a time where they could write informally, and they got to write about whatever they wanted, and they got to share it. And so we would start our day with just some informal writing, which was really wonderful. But I've now come back 10 years later, and it's been an even more joyous experience because I'm at a place where I feel like I can really soak it in and now take all of these ideas back to my classroom. And so as a first year teacher, it was beneficial. And if that's where you're at and you're ready for it, great. But I will say it's honestly much more beneficial to me 10 years down the road. So I've been teaching for 11 years. So this is not something that's just for new teachers. There's so much to learn. There's so much to gain from hearing these other people's experiences and seeing what they're doing in your classroom. And I'm now at a place where I'm really ready to go back and implement them. And I'm really excited for what this next coming school year is going to be like for my students.
Values the experience I have as a teacher, the expertise I've developed over the years that I've taught writing, and takes that, honors it, and brings it into conversation with what others who also have lots of experience and have done research, what they have to say.
CUWP is like a course correction, so I can constantly reflect back on the practices that I'm doing and if they are backed by research and if they are effective in the classroom.
CUWP has really taken away the black box of teaching writing and helped me see how there really are like a wealth of strategies and tactics and techniques that I can use to teach writing, but also most importantly to make my classroom a safe space for my students to express themselves through language. And I think that's so important to being connected in a global community.
It focuses on principles, not just practices. It is a place to connect with people and in a networking way, but more so on a personal level. The Central Utah Writing Project really has changed my life. I know that sounds trite, but it really has. I don't know where I would be as a writer or even as an individual without it over the past 12 years. So I highly recommend it.
I loved my experience. It was fantastic. Both personally with just motivated me to write more and pay more attention to my own writing practice, and also as a writing teacher.
I felt a lot of freedom being part of this project into writing things that I wanted to write about and allowing my students to write about what they wanted to write about. And I think for students of color, and I think for students who don't always feel like they have a place to express themselves, being able to feel safe, being able to have that permission to be who they are in their writing is incredibly freeing.
I have loved my experience. It has been so liberating to me as a writer. I have always written, but I have never shared my writing. And so this has been an awesome experience for me to help me come out of my shell and share my writing.
Even though I feel like CWP gave me so many ideas for practices to bring into my classroom, I feel like it also just helped me redefine what my identity was as a writer. Because for so long, it kind of got entrapped into this, I am a college student and now I'm a teacher. And the part of me that was a writer just kind of got pushed aside throughout the way. And so I felt like being part of CWP was a good chance for me to start feeling like safe within that space again, and like I had a place at that table. And so it was cool because I did find things that I could apply into the classroom, but I also started seeing who I was as a writer independent of my career or my schooling.
I have learned so much about different paths into writing, different entry points to bring students in. With different genres, different modes, different activities, and I've just got so many ideas now that I'm excited to go back to school to teach writing, and that's something that in the summertime is not normal for me, but I'm so excited to go back. And so I highly recommend Central Utah Writing Project for those that are trying to switch up their writing or make it more engaging or just help your students learn how to write better. But then also it's helped me identify as a writer more, and that's something that I have always written, but I've never identified myself as a writer, and this has really changed that perspective for me. So I highly recommend it to anyone and everyone.
And it's this re-energizing, rejuvenating kind of experience to be part of the writing project.
Everything with CUWP, this has been so great to do it this summer. I feel like I have been able to feel motivated this whole summer and feel excited to go back in August because I've gotten all these great ideas and things from all these amazing teachers that will that I can use in the fall. So I feel like instead of dreading the school year starting or like getting in this lazy slump of doing nothing all day, I just feel so excited, and it's good to be with people. It's been so nice to be with people where we're all on the same page. We all have similar questions and struggles, and I've just been so grateful to learn from all of them.
So what can a teacher expect to get from the writing project? I think what we hope anyway is that they're transformed. Still a teacher, but maybe a different kind of teacher than they were before the writing project. That they see themselves as a writer more than ever, and not necessarily a novelist or a poet, but as someone who uses writing in a regular way, in a personal way, and use it in the classroom too. We also hope that the writing project helps teachers understand how they can use writing to reinforce whatever they're trying to do in the classroom, not just English class, but any class. That writing is a tool of learning, and if they use it properly, it can be something that helps them help their students accomplish their course outcomes.
CUPE is awesome. Do it. You will not regret it. You'll become a better person, a better writer, a better teacher for it. Just do it.